Well, if you're just waking up to the news that we dropped some bunker buster bombs on Iran over the weekend, and this is all new to you, you might want to get some better news sources. Of course, we're going to talk about that, but mainly the after effects. I'll leave it up to every other podcaster and live streamer in the world and all the talking heads and all the people that want to be political influencers, and I'll leave that up to everybody thinking that they're an Iran-Iraq war expert these days and the Middle East concerns. I know people. That's what I know. I know people and I know societal trends and where this is going and what all of this tells us. And this tells us a whole lot about where you live, who your neighbors are, at different times, how people react to different things social media-wise. And a perfect example of that is what happened in two different places, two major cities. New York City, Saturday night, like within hours of this happening, and in Los Angeles County. This was the biggest fail of a sheriff's department I've ever seen in my life, and it tells you a whole lot about where you live. It's funny how that works, too. World events tell you a whole lot about your local community. We'll get into that as well, and the after effects. But it's going to be all right, because I think if you're worried about Gen Z, you know, if you got a couple of Gen Z kids like I do, the kids are okay. They're going to be okay, because they're way, way mentally tougher than we thought they were. And it all comes out in humor. Another after effect of this whole thing. But we got a lot to talk about. But thanks for being here. Welcome back in for the weekend. Despite all these crazy world events, I hope you had an awesome weekend. Thanks for finding the Wicked Radio live stream. All part of Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams and all the social media channels. And, of course, the audio podcast, too. Posted a little bit after we wrap up the live stream. Wherever you like to get your podcasts, it's all right there. Just look for Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams. Can't miss it. And make sure you download it so you get updates on future episodes and everything coming out when we go live and all that good stuff. All right, let's get to it. I don't know how you might have missed this. You probably didn't, but here was the official announcement from the White House.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan.
Said this a little bit on Thursday, a lot on Friday, but that's the theme now, and I think it's really important to remember. I really do. This is how I always look at this kind of stuff. Everybody's got their debate. We debated for a week and a half, possibly 2 weeks before this. Do we get involved? Is it just up to Israel? What's the thing? Nobody wants a forever war. Absolutely true, right? Everybody really wants peace. It's not always possible. But everything changes once we're in it, and we're in it. Now is the time for unity. Now is the time to put all that aside and go forward with one straight mission for what's best for the American people. That's how you have to look at this thing. That's how I look at this thing. And I gave you the example on Friday, and it's true. Any martial arts, self-defense, gun range instructor, anybody that is into personal protection will tell you, they'll break it down to a personal level. You always want to avoid a fight, but once you're in it, you have to win, and you're in it 100%. There's no middle ground whatsoever. Apply that to this, and it's the same thing for our country and our culture. You're in it. Unfortunately, and that's kind of like our theme today, you're not going to find that. And it's fascinating to me, excuse me, and maybe this is because of social media. It's amazing to me how quickly everything got revealed in our country. On the streets, social media posts, sheriff's departments. We'll talk about that in a little second, because that LA thing was wild. Talk about that. And it all comes out because we're in an information age and a social media age now where people just cannot help but get their feelings expressed. Because we all have a platform right now, right? And it's all to get the immediate information out there and to stick an opinion to it. Everybody's got a hot take, obviously. You know, I'm as guilty as anybody else is, but I've been doing it for a while. So it tells you an awful lot. And it's very interesting to compare this to, well, I mean, go back to the 90s with, Gulf War I, II, whatever it was. Whole different circumstance right now, where at least in the beginning it looked like and felt like, and even after 9/11, it felt like the entire country was completely united, at least at first. Interesting how times have changed. Perfect example? Well, the big concern, and a big top news story, as it should be, is what's in the country right now. A direct effect of the past 4 years we had where there's been a wide open border. The concern of anybody that knows about this stuff was talking about the sleeper cell concern. Well, Tom Homan, our border czar, for lack of a better title, was talking to Maria Bartiromo on Sunday, and he addressed this issue itself directly. Well, she brought up the question. He directly answered it, which was, number one, great, so we can get an idea of what the problem is here. And number two, I think we should all come out of this knowing that this is the big concern. And this is why it was such a concern at opening the border. But this was Tom Homan on Sunday.
Well, look, you and I have talked about this many times. I said the last 4 years, my biggest concern was this open border was the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. So I pulled numbers this morning just from a CBP under Joe Biden. There was 1,272 nationals of Iran released in the country between OFO and the Border Patrol.
Concerning, yes, but if you want to feel a little bit better about that, this is the guy that knows more about the border and is in charge of the deportation plan and finding these sleeper cells and working with the government, getting the job done. He knows more than anybody else. And right away, this is interesting, right away was able to come out with that number on what they have. It wasn't, well, we don't really know. Previous administrations would be, well, we can't call them sleeper cells. We don't want to offend them. No, bullshit. The hell with that. This guy comes right out with it, defines the problem, and says, here's the concern. I may be wrong. That tells me they're on it, already working on it. I hope, fingers crossed. That makes me anyway feel a little bit better. This is one of the two constant themes that's going to come across the live stream this morning. Again, you hear that, and all this talk about, I don't know, and the hand-wringing, and what do we do about the Iran situation? Everything changed. Now we're in it. Now, domestically, all of this talk and all of this crap about the pro-Iranian protests that popped up over the weekend, within hours. No, that really did happen if you didn't see it. That shit has to end. Enough of that. You want proof? This was within hours. Saturday night, Times Square in New York City, there were thousands of people who, I don't know, where do you get, I said this on Friday, I wouldn't know how to get an Iranian flag right now. Do you buy that on Amazon? Is there an Iranian regime store, like in a corner somewhere in a major city? I have absolutely no idea, but they found them. They found a ton of Iranian flags. Maybe they had them in storage. I don't know. But they traded in their Palestinian flags and then their Hamas flags and their Pride flags and the Mexican flags. And apparently the exact same people brought out their Iranian flags. I don't know, but here they were. Now, again, to compare, and I know this is a different time, to compare this to after 9/11, Iraq War I, Iraq War II, Middle East concerns, Afghanistan, all this other stuff, you really didn't see this so much right away. Social media age, sure. I'm sure some of this was happening anyway, but this is outwardly there to send a message because they wanted to send whatever the hell message it is. This is where, and again, I'm going to repeat myself 15 times this morning, this is where everything changed Saturday night. There's no debate of, what do we do? No, we did it. We did it. It's fact. It's true. We dropped bombs on Iran. That's it. Let's hope that takes out their nuke capabilities from here on out. I'll let all the military podcasters and all the people who think they know what's going on in the Middle East and all the mind readers that think they know what Trump is thinking, right? How wrong did they prove to be? I'll leave that to those folks. This is what I know. People, the American people, neighborhoods, American culture and society. That's what I know. And here's what else I know. That's got to stop. All this all of the, Iranian flag waving and all that other bullshit, that has to stop. Freedom of expression, sure, but all of that nonsense, no. That's a bunch of crap. Here's the other thought I had just this morning when I saw that. Do you remember the heat Trump took for saying that, because he didn't have video proof of it, he said during the campaign of the 2016 election, after 9/11, I saw the celebrations in Jersey. I saw the celebrations in the streets in Muslim communities. Remember he got such a hard time for that? And they said he was lying. And okay, fast forward now to just this past weekend, and you see that happening in the streets of New York City, in Times Square. Pro-Iranian protests. Do you think he's that far off now? Do you really think he was lying about it now? Talking about something that happened all those many years ago? I don't think he was. We'll never find out. I don't know. Who knows? But again, crazy world events tell you an awful lot about your local community. Case in point, one of the wildest things, and I know you saw this too, one of the wildest things I have ever seen in the digital media age. Ever. Hands down. And thank God, anything that's posted, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, but anything that's posted online gets saved forever, including this. I'm sure you saw the story. If you didn't, here's the breakdown. The LA County Sheriff's Office sent out the most misguided post on social media I've ever seen in my life on Sunday night, last night. It gets saved forever, of course, because everybody screenshotted it. Because there were even major media figures looking at this and reposting it going, what? They said what? They immediately took it down, and there was an apology, but still, just as a refresher if you never heard this story, here's what happened, and I'll give you the timeline from last night. It got edited and then taken down, and that's key to the story. LA County Sheriff's Office on their official, it was on all the social media platforms, but I'm just going by X because that's what I'm on mostly. This was Sunday night. Our hearts go out to the victims and families impacted by the recent bombings in Iran. Huh? While this tragic event occurred overseas, the LA County Sheriff's Department is closely monitoring the situation alongside our local, state, federal, blah, blah, blah. Then it goes on to talk about safety and keep your head in the swivel, blah, blah, blah. Sure, when all that part's good. I'm just going to read it again because it sounds like fake news. No, this really happened. Our hearts go out to the victims and families impacted by the recent bombings in Iran. Well, in a matter of minutes, the second wildest part about this is I've never seen such a reaction so fast to anything that was posted out there. People have made mistakes before. People have been caught on hot mics, said dumb things, done dumb things before it was deleted. I've personally never seen anything like this, and we watched it in real time. In a matter of minutes, not an hour later, within minutes, this thing was edited. That wasn't the end of it, though. There's the edited version of that same post. Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is closely monitoring the situation overseas alongside our local, state, and federal partners. They edited that because of the backlash. The backlash continued so severely because everybody had a copy of the original post that they even took down the edit. That's even been deleted. And then, late last night, there was an official apology from the sheriff himself, apparently, which went like this. We are issuing this statement to formally apologize for an offensive and inappropriate social media post recently posted on our department social media platforms regarding the ongoing conflict in Iran. Now, juicy part here. This post was unacceptable, made in error. Here's the key part. Does not reflect the views of Sheriff Robert G. Luna and the department. Well, let me tell you something. It reflects the views of somebody or somebody's very high up in the sheriff's department out there and who has full access to your social media before it was taken down because of the backlash. It reflects the views I would be willing to bet of a lot of people in that sheriff's department and a lot of people in that county government and the city government of Los Angeles. A lot of people. So you edited the post, you eventually took it down, and then you formally apologized, which was the right thing to do. But it happened. This was one of those revealing things. That's why I say, crazy world events tell you in this day and age a lot about where you live, about your own neighborhood, about your own community. And this is just me, and you can say it's hyperbole, you can say it's overreaction, you can say it's not. I don't know. First takeaway is you should always get to know who your local officials are, how they vote, past statements, what they're all about, what's going on in your neighborhood. You can't keep your head, in a shell anymore. And the second thing is, for me, I'd move. No, I would. That would be enough for me. I would do whatever I could to get the hell out of that place because that tells me exactly, despite the apology, despite the retraction, whatever it is, that tells me there's a lot of people in that county and city government out there that are an absolute mess. Why would I move? Okay, let's compound that with what's happened also in that area over the past calendar year. The LA fires. You know how many homes they've rebuilt? Do you know how many, as of this date, I looked it up, do you know how many building permits they've issued after the LA fires to rebuild? to get back. 4. It's been this many months. 4 building permits have been issued for people to rebuild their lives. That's it, okay? The LA riots, again, completely out of control. They had no statement for that. They had no idea how to handle it. And now this. You've got the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department issuing a heartfelt, sincere well-wish for the Iranian regime. No, Bill, they only met the people. That I would doubt too. Again, my takeaway, I'd move. That's just me. You always have the ability to move. You can do it. Well, I'm locked in here and I can't, my whole business is here and my family. I'd move. That's just me. I would find a way to get it done. There's absolutely no ifs, ands, or buts. I would get out of there. But to each his own. Amazing, amazing development. This is why. This is this age now where everything is revealed. Everything. Because you've got every local government agency, you've got organizations, you got individuals, you got politicians, you got world leaders, you got entertainers. Everybody seems to want to get their message across and how they feel about things. And it's very, very revealing. As annoying as social media can be, it's very helpful to understand where you are and where you live. That's my takeaway on that. And here's the other one, though. This is interesting. I know. I'm a parent, too. I get it. And if you've got some Gen Z kids, that means kids in their late teens or in their early 20s like I do. The ones that are like younger than the millennials. We all worry. It's just what parents do. I think the kids are going to be okay. They're mentally tougher than they get any credit for. We had that story last week about how they really don't drink too much. They really don't. They looked at that, and they looked at the science, and they looked at how it makes them feel, and they just don't. They go to the gym more. They also have a wicked sense of humor. Apparently. I know it's not everybody, and it's putting everybody in a nutshell and under one big umbrella, but this is pretty damn revealing. So over the weekend, obviously, the number one search on any search engine, not just Google, anything, anywhere, any AI, has been World War III. It makes sense, right? According to World Events. The searches are up, they estimate, this is a number as of this morning, 2,000% increase in searches for that. Now, that's not surprising. Here's the surprising part. They think most of the searches, they can break this down by age and category and demographic, they think most of these searches are coming from that very same Gen Z I was just talking about. Basically kids in their 20s, college kids too. You can tell a lot about a generation by their humor. So they not only think it was these kids looking up this stuff, they were looking up World War III memes, like internet memes, which means they were sharing them, and a lot of them were so dark. And this is how we always, previous generations, if you're Gen X like me, you know damn well we always did. You handle situations that are scary with humor. There's nothing that can't be made better with humor, including some dark humor, because it's how you get the bad stuff out. Apparently, according to the research, Gen Z was searching for dark World War III memes all weekend long, which means this is how they're handling this stuff. It doesn't mean they're insensitive. It doesn't mean they're pro-war. In general, what it means is they have a sense of humor. If you want to feel good about something, about this future generation coming up, they're pretty kick-ass, I got to tell you. Probably because they looked at their older siblings and cousins that are millennials who are so sensitive about everything and didn't want to be offended, and they wanted to hide and they wanted to have hug rooms. These kids are something else. And it's a great thing, because we've always handled something with humor, as dark as it seems on the surface. Proof of that, did you see what else came out on social media? The last time we had a conflict with Iran in the 80s, and it was the 80s, the mid-1980s, there were a lot of this thing. There was a lot of this kind of stuff because it was mostly Gen X creating it. This popped up and went viral and started trending again over the weekend. From Vince Vance and the Valiants. It's a band. Do you remember the Bomb 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 Iran song? Here's a little reminder.
Bomb, 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 Iran. Bomb, 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 Iran.
And you're doing like I am. You're shaking your head at that and you're going, oh man, that's awful. But I bet you chuckled. And that started trending again for the first time since the mid to late 80s started trending again. That's from Gen Z. They have a sense of humor. The kids are going to be okay. The second takeaway, the most important thing is crazy times and crazy world events tell you exactly about your local community. And LA, other cities, I feel for you, but I'd move. That's just me. I don't know. We'll see where it goes from here, but it's only Monday. We're starting the work week in a kick-ass kind of way. Have some fun. Don't let this stuff get you down. If you're heading to Swivel, obviously. And thanks for hanging out with me. As always, I always appreciate your time. And thanks for finding the live stream. Make sure you put notifications on if you're watching this later on X or any of the other replays so you know that we're going live. Thank you for the follows. And on the audio podcast, wherever you like to get your audio, thanks for downloading that as well. Just look for Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams and you'll find it right there. It's only Monday, but make it awesome. We'll talk to you tomorrow.